So you think you have secrets? Let me stop you right there. Whatever you've buried deep, locked away in the most private corners of your mind, there's something out there that already knows it. Imagine this. Everything you've ever done, every fleeting thought, every dark desire is floating in a dimension beyond your understanding. The Akashic Records, they call it. A record of every life, every soul, every moment since the dawn of existence. Sound terrifying? It should, but it's also oddly comforting, isn't it? Because if nothing's ever really hidden, then maybe there's something out there that knows you better than you know yourself. Something that's already watching, already remembering. And that's where we begin. Picture this. You're sitting in the corner of a dimly lit room, surrounded by people chanting some mystical prayer. Suddenly, you feel like the top of your head has popped open and you're seeing things that don't make sense. Images that aren't yours, voices that sound like you, but wiser, calmer. You're tapping into something beyond yourself, something bigger. This isn't meditation. This isn't some mind trick. You've just cracked open the Akashic Records. That's what happened to someone who thought they'd signed up for just another mindfulness workshop. What they got instead was access to the very fabric of the universe. The moment they tuned in, the floodgates opened. But hey, I get it. You're still skeptical. Fair enough. Let's break this thing wide open. The Akashic Records. People love to throw around this term like it's some spiritual buzzword. They say it's a library, a database, a mystical storage unit for all your thoughts and actions. But let me level with you. It's not that simple. The Akashic Records aren't a place you can go. They aren't books you can touch. They're more like a dimension, a frequency. Think of it as a layer of existence that sits above our reality. In the Akasha, everything is recorded, past, present, future. It's like the universe's memory, and it doesn't play by your rules of time or space. You want to know what happened 10,000 years ago? The records know. You want to know what happens tomorrow? The records already have that too. The catch? It's not locked in. Time here isn't linear, it's fluid. What will happen is based on where you're headed right now, but change your course, and the records shift with you. Now here's where things get weird, in the best way. It's not just your soul that has an Akashic record. Everything does. Your dog, your house, your relationship, even your weird collection of concert tickets from the 90s. Every single thing has its own record. The universe doesn't just care about you as an individual, it records the energy of everything. Because everything, and I mean everything, is connected. You can open the records for your life, but you can also open them for your house or the tree in your backyard. Sounds ridiculous? Sure, until you realize that your dog has a past life too. Maybe you two were warriors in a past incarnation, side by side in battle. Maybe that tree in your backyard was once a seed in some ancient, forgotten forest. The Akashic Records hold the key to understanding that we're all part of the same story, just different chapters. Let's talk Edgar Cayce. He was one of the first to bring this Akashic Records concept into mainstream consciousness. Cayce called it the Book of Life, and he wasn't kidding. He described the Akashic Records as the universe's supercomputer, a cosmic storehouse that contains every thought, word, deed, and intent that has ever existed. Think about that for a second. It's not just the big obvious moments, your graduation, that breakup, your wedding. No, it's every tiny, fleeting thing you've ever felt, everything you've ever considered, even the thoughts you dismissed. It's all in there, influencing your present, shaping your future. The Akashic Records don't just record, they interact with your life. Every decision you make pulls from this cosmic database and projects the potential realities back to you. So if you've ever wondered why certain patterns keep repeating in your life, maybe it's time to ask the records why. Now here's where I put the brakes on for the skeptics in the room. You're thinking, sure, this all sounds mystical and cool, but where's the proof? Well, let's be real for a second. You're never going to get the kind of hard evidence you're used to with something like the Akashic Records. It's not quantifiable in the way you'd expect. But here's the thing. Just because something can't be dissected in a lab doesn't mean it's not real. Humans are wired to seek proof. But let me ask you this. How do you know you're dreaming when you're in a dream? You don't, you're just in it. You experience it. That's what it's like when you access the Akashic Records. You feel something shift, something bigger than yourself. And when you start seeing patterns you couldn't have possibly known, when answers come from somewhere you didn't expect, well, that's your proof right there. Here's where it gets juicy. Quantum mechanics. String theory, the many worlds interpretation, these aren't just scientific jargon. They're keys to understanding how the Akashic Records might work. Quantum mechanics tells us there are infinite universes, all existing at the same time. For every choice you make, there's another universe where you made the opposite choice. The Akashic Records. They're like the ultimate observer of all those parallel realities. They don't just record what is happening, they record what could have happened and what will happen based on your trajectory. It's like having an overview of every possible outcome of your life, all laid out, waiting for you to explore. You want to know if you should quit your job? The records already have the answer. It's just up to you to access it. Let's talk about time. Humans are obsessed with it. You live by the clock, measure your days by it, and stress over it constantly. But in the Akashic Records, time doesn't exist the way you understand it. It's flat, circular, meaningless. The past isn't really the past. The future isn't really the future. Everything is happening right now, all at once. That fight you had last week? It's still echoing in the Akashic Records. That decision you'll make tomorrow? It's already playing out in some version of reality. Time here is just another illusion. In the records, you can tap into any moment, past, present, future, and it's all equally accessible. So if you want to know what you did in a past life or what's likely to happen in the next decade, the records hold it all, waiting for you to unlock it. So how do you actually access the Akashic Records? It's not as complicated as it sounds. You don't need to be a mystic or a psychic. You don't need to climb a mountain or meditate for days on end. All you need is intention. There are practices like the Pathway Process prayer that can guide you, but the truth is, the records are always there, waiting for you to tune in. Find a quiet space, get comfortable, and focus. You might feel a shift, a pressure on the top of your head, like something is opening up. You might hear a voice or see images or just feel a sense of knowing. Everyone's experience is different, but once you've accessed the records, you'll know. And once you're in, the answers come. Sometimes subtle, sometimes loud, but always there. Now let me introduce you to the MTLOs, Masters, Teachers, and Loved Ones. These are the beings that help you translate the Akashic Records into something you can actually understand. Think of them as your spiritual support team. They're not here to give you all the answers on a silver platter, though. They're more like guides. They'll help you navigate the records, but they're not going to spoon feed you. And here's the kicker: they don't deal with yes or no questions. They don't care about your obsession with getting black and white answers. Life isn't that simple, and neither are the records. The MTLOs want to empower you to make your own decisions. They give you the tools, but the choices, those are still yours. So what do people actually ask the Akashic Records? Everything. People ask about their relationships, their careers, their health. They ask about past lives, future possibilities, spiritual growth. But the most powerful questions are the ones that dig deeper into your purpose. Why are you here? What are you meant to learn? How can you become the best version of yourself? The records don't care about your trivial day-to-day concerns. They're interested in your soul's journey, in the bigger picture. So if you're going to ask wisely. Because the answers you get might not be what you're expecting. Here's the real value of the Akashic Records. They're not just a spiritual curiosity. They're a tool for empowerment and transformation. When you tap into the records, you're not just learning about your past or your future. You're learning about the present. You're learning about the energy you're carrying right now and how it's shaping your reality. You're getting insight into the choices you're making, the patterns you're repeating, and the possibilities you're creating. The records give you a bird's eye view of your life. They show you where you're headed, but they also give you the power to change course. You're not locked into a destiny. You're always in control. But here's the catch. Just because you can access the Akashic Records doesn't mean you'll always get the answers you want. Sometimes the information is cryptic, sometimes it doesn't make sense, and sometimes it's downright frustrating. That's because the records aren't here to make your life easy. They're here to guide you, to help you grow, and sometimes that means delivering hard truths. You might get an answer that feels totally irrelevant, only to realize months later that it was exactly what you needed to hear. The records work on their own timeline, not yours. So you've made it this far, and you're probably wondering, what's the point of all this? Why does it matter? Here's why. The Akashic Records aren't just some esoteric tool for spiritual seekers. They're a mirror. They reflect back to you the truth of who you are, where you've been, and where you're going. They show you the patterns that are playing out in your life, and they give you the power to change them. The Akashic Records are the ultimate key to self-awareness. And once you've tapped into that level of understanding, nothing is ever really a secret again. Thank you for joining me on this wild ride through the Akashic Records. If you're intrigued, if you're curious, I challenge you. Open them for yourself. You might just find that the universe knows more about you than you ever thought possible. And if this resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You've got secrets, but so does the universe. Maybe it's time to unlock both.